The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Hump Day.
It's a day from hell.
Oh, yeah.
Just for all you people who are dying to know, Market Basket opens Saturday morning. 7 a.m.
It'll be like there's a hurricane coming.
That's right.
It'll be packed.
It'll be jam-packed.
No bread, no milk.
They're expecting a thralls of people to show up. And already people are saying, you better be there at 5:30 if you want to get in the door. And people are actually going to compete to be the first person through the cash register. I'm going to give you a secret. If you want to be the first person through a cash register, just go straight to the cash register and buy a pack of gum. You'll be all set. and I know Patrick's over there screaming, I'm going to kill him.
and I just wonder why. You know, it's a supermarket. You know, okay, it's not Cabbage Patch Dolls or antifreeze when it was a shortage. Why people have to, you know, trample each other over stuff like this is just beyond me. But hey, different strokes for different folks. So.
They're gonna run them down with the buggies.
Run them down so I can be the first one to buy a loaf of bread from Market Basket.
That's it. Hey, that's important in life. You know, there are certain things that, you know.
True.
And I think the odds makers out in Vegas have 20-1 odds that somebody's gonna get hit by a buggy within the first couple of minutes. So.
Well, you know, I just hope. What's more important to me is how many Fall River people are being employed there. That's what's really important. I'm going to see how many Fall River people. I know there were a few people from Fall River in New Bedford training.
Yes, there were.
So hopefully, let's see what I'd like to see how many people are employed there and how many people are from Fall River that weren't previously employed by Market Basket. I want to see how many new hires we got, because that's, you know, it's important, because we were discussing last night what Rhode Island's doing, something we've been talking about for, 5 years on this show.
Imagine this, apprenticeships. Apprenticeships. It's not like they work. I mean, Germany's only been doing it for 5 or 6 decades.
Yeah.
It's not like it works. And Rhode Island did this before with welders, and that increased their population of people who were employed at electric boats and Quonset Point. And so now they've done it with a market that is actually in need. Are you ready for this? Nursing.
Wow.
Not nurses' aides.
Nursing.
Not medical assistants. Actual nurses. It is an apprenticeship program for licensed practical nurses. At the end of 1 year, you'll qualify to take your licensed practical nurse exam. And I used to be an LPN. I got that license first before I got anything else. It's a 1-year program.
Many do.
Right, many do, because you can work while you're still finishing up your requirements for your registered nurse and your baccalaureate and so on and so forth. And this program is in conjunction with, I can't believe this, an actual medical facility.
Yeah, heaven forbid. Like I said, they didn't reinvent the wheel. That's what they do in Germany. So
no, and you know what? They've already filled the program.
Yeah.
People want to be part of this program, so they're already filling this program. So within a year, these people are all going to be LPNs, and LPNs are doing almost as much work as the RNs are doing now in the long-term care facilities. So, and actually now LPNs are working in home care. They're actually going out to, which before that never happened. LPNs never went out to do home care, but now they are. They're going out and they're doing dressing changes, med checks, wellness checks. They're going out and they're doing that for home care patients.
Well, they're filling a need, and that's the key. The key is that this is what apprenticeship programs are based on in Germany and where they function properly. There's a need. You actually work in conjunction with business to help them fill that need, and there's a cooperative effort there, working with people, and then who benefits? everybody.
Right.
Everybody benefits, because then the person who gets a job and then gets a skill, as you said, you're an LPN. Actually, a nurse that was the president of the nurses union at Mass Hospital School walked the picket line once here at BCC with me when a governor was coming down, or and that we had issues with, and we had a picket line, and she joined the picket line because I had actually consulted with her on a few grievances, and she started as an LPN, then became an then actually she was employed by the state, and then they actually assisted her tuition-wise and stuff to finish off her RN. So, there's a career ladder that's open. This thing, like I said, it just makes me crazy when I see that. And I think we discussed, you and I discussed, we're at Dunkin' Donuts having a coffee because, see, that's the reason we get a lot of information. We actually rub elbows with the real people, the people in Fall River. We actually go to places and restaurants and places in Fall River. Unlike, we don't run to Providence and go to the Capitol Grill or go somewhere else in Providence. And I was talking to someone, we were discussing politics. What a surprise.
Imagine that.
We're discussing politics, and this guy was sitting over there having a coffee, kind of half listening, and, well, actually really listening, and then you could tell he wanted to say something, and then he finally said something. And then we began to talk a little bit, and he was a German national who was working in the United States for a German company, but he had begun working in Germany. And ironically enough, he was a machinist that went through the machinist's apprentice program in Germany. And here he was living a dream, United States, making good money as a skilled tradesman, all because Germany, like when they build cars, they know how to do things. And, you look at the United States, the only thing our government's good at is spending money. Yeah, spending our money. So,
and even at that, they can't get it right.
They can't get. Well, they don't care, CJ. They don't have to get it right because they spend our money. They don't get it right. Well, they spend more of our money to try it again.
That's right.
Like Groucho Marx once said, the thing that government's best at is creating a problem where there is none, and spending a lot of money to look at the problem and then not fixing it.
Exactly. Words of wisdom from Groucho Marx, that's for sure. Hey, how many people got their nasty water bill recently?
Oh boy, we're hearing a lot of that. I got a lot of phone calls. Yeah, well,
single-family homes.
Remember, I got rid of the $10 trash fee,
That's
and
right.
I increased your taxes $1,000 a year. Let me see, do the math. You have property taxes, fees, and wait, we're not done yet. We're gonna look for another bond to increase your water bill, and we're gonna look for a debt exclusion for $240 million for the school. Hey, guess what, taxpayer in Fall River? The people that are telling me now we can't afford to pay our fees and taxes, let alone our mortgages. Guess what? Thank you, government, for driving everybody into either losing their house or moving out.
Well, and this is the thing. Now, I received a lot of phone calls from single-family homeowners. One person in the house, one person,
Yeah.
a water bill of $100 to $125. Some people even higher.
Yeah.
And like they said, I only do laundry once a week, and I take a shower maybe twice a week. I don't use a lot of water. And they said, but it's not the water, it's the sewerage. But this water bill is killing me. I said, thank your mayor, because your mayor did that. And the mayor's turning around and saying, no, that was the city council. No, it wasn't. You proposed it, they disposed it. And the odd thing about it was they're blaming people who voted no, because there were people who voted no on these increases. People like Linda Pereira voted no, and they're blaming her for it. She voted no, but she's one vote out of 9. There were a few other people. I think Ray Mitchell voted no.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? They're one vote out of 9. Unless you can get 5 people to say no, it doesn't happen. Now remember, if you vote yes on that $123 million bond for water pipes, guess what? That's going to increase your water bill because the water department is an enterprise fund. Ooh, that swear word, enterprise fund.
Enterprise fund.
Okay, which means it has to be self-sufficient.
And the only people that don't get a prize from the enterprise fund are the taxpayers.
That's right. So that means your bill's gonna go up just to pay for that $123 million bond. So again, and they're already starting the scare taxes. Oh well, if you don't approve this, the EPA is gonna come in and hit us with huge fines, and they're gonna force us to do it. And blah. Well, you know what? If you had done your job in the first place, Mr. Sullivan, way back when you could have applied for grants to offset this.
Oh, you're bringing that up. There you go again. Bring it up
the
fast.
past. Yep,
there you go.
I know.
I can't take it. You know. Yeah. We remember that we didn't get out. We didn't get in for the grant because Mr. Sullivan was on vacation
That's
or
right.
otherwise predisposed. So we couldn't get a grant. So we wouldn't have any of this stuff But not only did he keep his job from all those years
he got
ago,
raises.
He's got tons of raises. So, again, this is what government does best, spend your money.
Right.
That's why if we have the Sahara Desert, we'll run out of sand.
But how many people like the chow mein noodles in Fall River?
You
How
know,
many people like the chow mein noodles in Fall River? How many people like the bean sprouts that you get at the chow mein noodles factory?
You're breaking the news here.
Yeah, guess what? No more bean sprouts.
Why?
They cannot afford.
Why? We want to know why. The public wants to know why. No more bean sprouts. You can't make chow mein without bean sprouts.
There's no more bean sprouts because they can't afford the water to grow the bean sprouts. That's how expensive the water is for them. And if the water prices get any higher, they may not be able to make the noodles. Then what are you going to do? You're going to have to go to La Choy makes Chinese food.
Well, the thing is, but the thing is that it's going to...
And again, thank the mayor for that too.
It increases, the... But, that's the other thing. We have this kind of ostrich approach to reality, not only in Fall River, but especially in Fall River, but all over the country. They stick their head in the sand and pretend that they don't understand what's happening. It was like when the mayor said, I'm getting rid of the trash fee. Yeah, you are. You're not getting rid of the revenue that you're going to lose because you lose that revenue. Has to come from somewhere else. So if you take that revenue from another place in the budget, it leaves a hole in the budget, which has to be made up. Guess what? We don't sell a product in Fall River. Well, maybe we do, being upset. Malaise maybe we can sell. But the fact is that we can't sell more widgets. We can't sell more candy bars. We can't have a sale and sell a few more coats. This is a city, and we can't print our own money, by the way, and deficit spend, or at least we're not supposed to. So when that hole is created, there's only one way to fill that hole. Take it out of your wallet in the form of taxes and fees. This is why you see that continuing shameful propaganda of that you're supposed to get your taxes increased and your fees increases every year. That's the way it is. No, that's not the way it is. That is not the way it is. Because people with far more intelligence in the field of economics and in government, Milton Friedman, Nobel Prize winner in economics, said you cannot tax your way to prosperity. Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of England during the Second World War, and one of the most famous individuals in government in the history of the world, said, trying to tax your way to prosperity is like standing in a bucket and trying to lift that bucket by the handles. But they continue to go in front of you and tell you that, and you continue to elect people who misspend your money, who have no regard for your taxes. Then you go back and you complain. We complain. Well, I don't vote for anybody that supports things that are going to waste my money. I fully understand that I have to pay taxes. But I don't pay taxes for $30,000 pay raises, for a bunch of half-show and no-show jobs in the mayor's office with fancy titles like chief of staff and part-time. I don't pay part-time lawyers 92 grand when we used to pay full-time lawyers 85 grand. That's not what I pay my taxes for. I pay my taxes for fire, police, education, infrastructure. That's what I pay my taxes for. Because a city is not an employment agency. A city should only collect taxes to provide essential services to the people in their community. This is our house. Not having public safety is like not paying your gas bill. Not educating your children it's like not paying your electric light bill. There are certain things that have to come first. Do you raise taxes? Yeah, occasionally, because everybody deserves a raise. Not a $30,000 raise when nobody's gotten a raise in 2 or 3 years that works in private industry in this area. Ask the guys that are working 2 jobs and not making what the person got for a pay raise, if they're happy. You know, this is the whole problem. You know, you listen to it. I'm getting rid of the purple bags. Yeah, great. I'm getting rid of the trash fee. You didn't get rid of the bills that it was paying. It generates income. That fee gave this city money to pay something in the budget. When you remove that, now you don't have that revenue to pay that money. So you have to get it from somewhere else. It just doesn't disappear. Whatever that was paying for doesn't evaporate. It's not gone. So the next time somebody promises to get rid of the purple bags, ask them how they're going to get the money to fund whatever is earmarked by the purple bags in the budget. If we remember correctly, the mayor promised to get rid of the purple bags in the current budget and then found he couldn't. And now he's promising to get rid of it in the next budget, or at least look at it.
Hey, one of our viewers, Dave, because we now can take Facebook messages regularly. Yep. He just said, stop telling the truth already. Hey, Dave, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching, Dave. But I mean, you know, that's the thing that, like, it makes me crazy because, you know, they listen to these campaign things. I mean,
Yeah.
look, they'll promise you anything. Look, all we got to do is read the paper. You know, it's like, yes, we will pave over the rail trail. Wait a minute, you don't want it? No, we won't pave over the rail trail. No, let's face it, it's an election time. You'll get promised anything you ask for.
That's right.
We can have a candy bar in every pot. Who cares? I mean, you know,
It's
this
Halloween.
is the reality.
We need them.
But pay attention, people. This city can, you know, look, we're teetering on the edge. Last stat I saw, we had, what, 37% of the people own property?
Yeah.
That's going to be down to like 20% very shortly because everybody I know that's on a fixed income is barely scratching. Also, look at the businesses. That chow mein place has been there for, God, I don't know how long, 50 years?
Probably longer.
I don't know, maybe longer. It's been there for as long as I can remember. And that, you know, small business is the lifeblood of a city like Fall River. Market Baskets and Amazons don't create Fall River. They're not gonna, because you don't hire enough people there to, you know, what makes a city vibrant, a smaller city like this, is having small business. They employ people.
That's right.
They stimulate the expenditure of money. And guess what? Why does Newton have 10,000 more small businesses than Fall River does, even though they're 2,000 people less? It's because they have an income that's about 5.5 times what ours is. They have discretionary money. And what these politicians don't understand is the more money you take out of the people's pockets, the less money they have to spend. And the more you increase business costs on small business, like the chow mein place, the harder it is you let these people. That's why every time you turn around, a small business is closing. As a matter of fact, we talked about it the other show. They talked about Amazon having a national and international impact, negative impact on the economy, because so many businesses are closing because of Amazon.
And we see that locally with Benny's.
That's right.
And the funny thing is, Amazon just got hit with a $300 million tax bill from the European Union. because they haven't paid their taxes. And they're fighting Massachusetts and other states because they want to collect their online sales taxes. But what's really interesting is, let's talk about lies.
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 And
Lies,
more
lies, and more lies.
And more lies.
How many people heard the mayor say that FROED, the Fall River Office of Economic Disaster, is insolvent? I guess they're going to go into receivership. I don't know. Well, FROED came out and brought all the documents that they filed with the federal government and with everyone else, and they proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that Mayor Jaisal Correa is lying. Liar, liar, pants on fire. According to the documents provided,
Forgive me.
they actually...
Just another one. It's just that there's such a litany of them. I can't keep
You
track.
can't keep track of them, I know. It's like if I had a quarter for every time, I'd be a millionaire by now.
Right.
As of June 30th, FROED had $1.6 million in unrestricted funds, otherwise known as pure cash or free cash, as they like to call it in Fall River. Compared with the 2 prior years, that's an increase of approximately $200,000 from June 30, 2016, which had $1.44 million, and approximately $250,000 more from June 30, 2015, where they had $1.36 million in unrestricted funds. According to the financial statements of Jobs for Fall River, Inc., FROED's legal incorporated entity. Meyer, Regan, and Wilner in Fall River did the auditing report. They presented the 2 prior fiscal years. It cover sheets said financial statements were recently fairly pertaining to the changes in its net assets and its cash flows for these 2 fiscal years. Well, at least we know that it's not Hagen Sahadi. So,
So the numbers may be right. I don't know. Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
So-
But you look at the rest of this and look at some of what of these people say, because that's what disturbs me. I mean, this was a very concentrated attack on FROED to really sink them as an organization, because DeCuna, who is one of the 5 senior lending officers serving voluntarily on the FROED board, said, quote, "Financial credibility is the most important asset we have," unquote. Yeah, of course. So he's going to impugn their credibility financially. And then he goes on to say, quote, this is another quote from someone else. "The idea that any of us would associate ourselves with something insolvent or doing the wrong thing is just mind-boggling," unquote. I mean, you look at these quotes throughout. I mean, it's... and that's one of the problems. You can't just engage your defense mechanism and just throw out allegations that you don't have any proof on, because guess what? Especially now, you're going to get called on them, as we've seen, as we saw with so many things. He has a tendency to say, "Oh, produce that tape." Oh, wait a minute, don't produce that tape. So a lot of these allegations, they seem like, it's a defense mechanism to just hurl accusations back, which is a kind of a really, really childish kind of method, because, the problem is, if you hurl allegations at somebody, you better have some basis. You better have some proof. You can't just say, well, Johnny said I stole a cookie, so I'm gonna rat out Johnny, and I'm gonna say Johnny stole a cookie even if he didn't steal a cookie. So, and this is what happens with this thing, and our government should be above this. If you have a legitimate issue with FROED, because this is an organization that has done a lot of business with the city of Fall River, through the city of Fall River, and for the city of Fall River. Why don't you should have gotten your case together and said, this is why we're going to cut ties with FROED. I can prove that they haven't done a good job, or they're insolvent, or whatever you want to say, but at least be able to prove it. Just don't throw it out to make a good-looking headline, so later on you can say, well, that's not exactly what I meant. Maybe I spoke too soon. Well, again, as it says in this article, you know, financial credibility, well, personal credibility is important too, especially when you're running a $250 million plus corporation. You should have some personal credibility. And, you know, when everything you say gets either retracted or is said, well, that's not exactly what he meant, and then you have your own shills doing it, then you know we've got a problem. We've got a serious problem in this city because, you know, realistically, that's why we tell you on the show, don't believe anything we say either. Research it. Go down to the chow mein place and try to order some bean sprouts. Don't believe us. Maybe you'll help the business while you can buy some chow mein noodles, some gravy powder, and help a Fall River business. The stuff is really good. And but order some bean sprouts, and when they tell you they don't have any, they don't sell them anymore, you'll know why.
Interesting, I'll tell you. You'll never guess who just got a nice $7.5 million no-bid contract to secure sensitive IRS data. Take a shot in the dark. Equifax. $7.5 million no-bid contract for the company that exposed...
Just, well, how many millions? 450 million people or something like... I don't know. Millions of people's data.
Personal
but
data.
Look, there's our government. There's our government at its best. Just look at the guy who did the charter.
Yeah.
He's now over in a housing authority and a few other places. So once these ticks embed themselves into the government, it's like a avalanche of other jobs in other governmental agencies. Look at Mary Sahadi. She came on with the city. Now she's like the auditor for everybody. Diamond Vogue, Housing Authority, the town of Swansea. I mean, you know, because they have a club. The stick your head in the trough and suck all the money out club.
That's it.
So,
I mean, it's unbelievable what's happening in this city. But you know, it's not only in this city. It's everywhere in the country, and that's the big problem. So, just for those who weren't aware, the Democratic gubernatorial candidates or hopefuls were in Dayton last night, and 3 contenders: Mr. Gonzalez, which sends us regular press releases, Mr. Warren, he's Newton Mayor, Seti Warren. They were there, and they were with
Bob Massey, the third, Somerville.
So
Somerville
you know, you
native.
have these gubernatorial candidates that are down here in Dayton. When was the last time a gubernatorial candidate came down to the southeastern Mass area, the South Coast area, to meet with voters and tell them what they stood for? Okay, I think that speaks volumes for these candidates. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, it speaks volumes. You know, I know Governor Baker does pay a lot of visits down here to Fall River, but normally it's to cut a ribbon.
But Charlie's your buddy.
Yeah,
you
right.
know that. He is. He is.
But you know, it's just amazing. So remember, when you go to get those bean sprouts, remember when he says there are none there, you might be able to go over to Price Right and pick up a bag of them. But they're not the same, and they can't make them because it's
Well,
too
I'll tell you,
expensive on water.
because their bean sprouts are really good. When we used to, well, not me, because I don't cook, and I won't claim to be. I know what I can't do, and if I cook, you know, there would have been people laying on the floor with poison. But when they used to make chow mein in a firehouse, and they make some great chow mein in a firehouse. I'll tell you what, we used to go down there and get a huge bag of nice fresh bean sprouts, and I'll tell you, another sad day in Fall River.
Well, yep.
If that place closes, and another institution, Fall River Chow Mein is an institution throughout the country.
Yes, it is.
And guess what? Another institution on the verge of going under. So stay angry, everybody, and we will see you Friday.
It's always a mess in Fall River.
Yeah, it's always cloudy in Fall River.
That's it. Hey, have a great day. We'll see you Friday.